I am really excited to be with you all, mostly because I identify with you. I am an entrepreneur at heart. I'm not really from the nonprofit sector. I'm not from government. I, like you, believe in the power of business. Jay and I worked together for about 11 years building an athletic footwear and apparel company called And1. We scaled that company up to about $250 million and sold it in 2005. And the learnings that we took away from that experience are ones that you already know. That business is probably the most significant and powerful man-made force on the planet. And if harnessed appropriately, it really can be a force for good. But sadly, it's just not structured that way. Cultural expectations, and in some cases, legal impediments, get in the way of companies that are trying to scale profits and purpose. And we saw that firsthand at And1. As the company got larger, it got harder and harder to keep purpose and meaning at the center of the business. And when it finally came time for us to sell the company, it frankly became impossible. Because in the United States, your requirement by law is to maximize the return to the shareholder. And the gentleman, though I bear him no ill will, the gentleman who bought the company, did not share our values. And very, very rapidly, he pulled all of our commitments to community, employees, and the environment right out of the business. And at the back end of what had been just a magical 11-year run, it just felt like there had to be a better way. There had to be a way that a company could scale, raise capital, and even have a liquidity event and still hold on to mission, to meaning, to purpose. That was our inspiration for beginning this effort. And so B-Lab was founded in 2007 with a very simple mission. How do we get the great business leaders in the world to help solve the most intractable problems of the world? How do we harness the power of the private sector for public benefit? And our approach has always been very, very simple. We find leaders, best-in-class companies across the globe who have demonstrated that, in fact, you can run a successful, profitable business and simultaneously create real value for society and the environment. And if we can shine a light on those companies and elevate them, perhaps we can inspire legions of companies to follow. It is truly a demonstration effect approach. Now, tangibly, what that means is we need to find the leaders and we need to give them an identity, because what we're trying to do collectively is really build a movement, right? A movement of people using business as a force for good, and that's predicated on leadership. Those leaders we call certified B corporations. These companies have passed the highest standards of social and environmental performance, demonstrating truly preeminent performance. Secondly, they fundamentally have changed their governance to embed in the DNA of the business a commitment not just to their owners and their shareholders, but also to their workers, the community, and the environment. And third, they've agreed to be transparent, to share not only where they're excelling, but also where we all have areas for improvement. If you do those three things, you can be certified as a B corporation. Higher standards of social and environmental performance that have been built to last through a legal change in the company that you share with the world through transparency. That's what a certified B corporation is. Today, there are now a little over 2,700 certified B corporations all over the planet. We're in 60 different countries, 150 different industries. We range from multi-billion-dollar companies down to sole proprietors. Some of those we're most proud of are here in this room. Hortifruit, Patagonia, Danone. Other companies you probably know, Kickstarter from the United States, or Natura Cosmetics down in Brazil. Tritos Bank. These are our leaders. These are the companies we hope will inspire tens of thousands of companies to follow. And today, I'm happy to tell you, there are 80,000 companies who are following these leaders. They are either using our tool, our impact assessment, to manage, measure, and improve their performance, or they've adopted our legal framework to align their mission with their governance. 80,000 companies across the planet. Now, admittedly, this initiative began in the United States. And back in 2012, we had a set of wonderful visitors. Hoda, Gonzalo, Pedro, Maria Emilia came to join us in the New York office of B-Lab. Jay and I had always talked about a global vision. These are the folks who made it a reality. Without a doubt, what has happened in Latin America has inspired B-Lab UK, B-Lab Europe, B-Lab Australia, more recently, B-Lab Africa, B-Lab Korea, B-Lab Japan, B-Lab Taiwan, B-Lab China. All of that global work started right here with my dear friends. And so I would like all of you, just for a second, to help me thank them. So the question that I'm going to pose to all of you is, are you willing to engage? Are you willing to join us now? Because I believe this movement, it is at an inflection point. And it is at an inflection point at a moment in history where it could not be more important. And so let me tell you a little bit about how you could possibly engage with this movement. I'm going to try to make it tangible with examples. So we work with a company in the United States called Prudential. It's an enormous insurance company. They use our impact assessment to evaluate their investment opportunities. They ask anybody for whom they're investing with any sort of social purpose to use the tool just to begin to measure and manage their impact. They report back to Pru, and Pru uses it as a vehicle to try to inspire them to improve over time. Another good example, our friends at Unilever. Unilever is certifying subsidiaries. I think Jay has hit now 7 different certified subsidiaries of Unilever. They are both certifying subsidiaries and they are buying certified B corporations to join their organization. This is a trend that started a few years ago and it is accelerating right now. Our friends at Bank Colombia have decided to use the impact assessment with their supply chain. They found the tool so useful to them that they could use it with their suppliers to try to encourage them to, again, just begin the process. You cannot manage what you do not measure. And this creates an opportunity for them to encourage their suppliers to engage. And then, of course, our friends at Danone, who have stated that Danone in France, the parent company, will be a certified B corporation. And they've begun a very deliberate path to get there. I believe they now have 7 also subsidiaries, more than that? 9 subsidiaries of Danone are now certified as B corporations, and the idea is to continue to certify subsidiaries so that they can certify the entire parent. Those are easy ways you can engage. And though I believe it is the right thing to do, I would also tell you I believe it to be a better way to do business. And I think we have data to show this now, that this isn't just a way to help society and improve the environment, but it's also a better way to do business. There's a few elements of evidence that we have. First, as probably most of you know, consumers are beginning to care about this. They want to align their values with their purchases. There's a huge investment community that is deeply focused on sustainable investing, trying to move their capital with intention to organizations that are creating social and environmental impact. I would tell you, most importantly, if you want to attract and retain the best talent, it is imperative for you to come this direction. The data on the next generation below us is overwhelming about their interest in having both money and meaning in their work. It's very clear. And when I give talks to traditional large business, sometimes they don't believe the consumer movement and they don't believe the investor movement, but I tell you, everybody pays attention to what's happening with their workers. It unequivocally is a necessity if you hope to bring in the next generation of talent. But I want to conclude with this is more than a better way to do business. I believe we're at a point in history where it is a moral imperative, truly. The challenges in front of us have never been greater. The disparity of wealth all across the globe has only increased. We've just heard from the United Nations we have to 2030 before we are beyond the pale with regards to our climate. And sadly, I have to say that globally, our government, they're not stepping up to the challenge. Not all, but many. Certainly, I would say in the United States, our government has abdicated its responsibility. That creates a moral imperative for this room. It is no longer optional, folks, if we hope to leave a planet for our children that we are proud of, where the next generation can have something to live into and be part of a world that we are proud of. So I ask you today that please join us, because it really is that important. Thank you very much.